Big stick. Uh-oh, we're upside down, right? Covers. Let's make this abundantly clear on YouTube. When you pay your bill and you pay your phone bill, you have access to YouTube. You don't need anybody's permission. Let's spoke 1 minute, and I mean about a minute or less, to evil people that can't just Jesus Christ to you. I got things to do for my husband. I don't know about you. One of these days when your life is really screwed by the medical, you're going to wish you had somebody dogmatic, pragmatic to get them, such as myself. You don't want no whoop. You don't want no wuss. You don't want no tutu. Say, now, hi, how you doing today? Let me tell you something. When I entered that hospital, there was a man outside on a cane. I got to go take care of business. And there's that fun fact. If you're riding along, moving along, how you doing? Concerning the mandation of the sermon call to the sinners who are not saved by Christ. They cannot read the Bible. They cannot teach it to you. They never could ever do as requested. Sherry watched their channels on the second admonish. I didn't even post that day. I waited for the next day. They proved it. Just like a test. The scientific facts of exam, test, and prove. All right, most people, when they go to school, we'll talk on their elementary levels, of course. If a student, we'll say an 11th grader, the 11th grader, they go up to mom and dad, or perhaps they're living with their best friend as a sophomore, leasing and thinking they're elderly and superior in intellect. That's the world today. Kids moving in with kids, saying they hate their parents, talking about their parents behind their back, stabbing them in the back, and these are the ones that gave birth to them. Okay? The majority of the time, a mother gives birth to obey your parents. Even if they hurt you, broke the commandment of God. It doesn't say, well, mom and dad done me wrong, let me hate them. It doesn't say that. It genuinely does not say that. Children, obey your parents. If your parents are attainable to be found, and you choose to dog them, you broke both covenants of Jesus for yourself. There's no way around it. That makes you superior of the one that gave birth to you. It is your job under Christ to abide by these two simplistic laws. However, back in classroom again, you're in the 11th grade, right? End of the term comes. When them teachers, professors, substitutes walk in the classroom, and you're not, sadly, you're not graded on the curve, right? You're kind of stuck in there. You sit down, and something happens. In 3 words, perfectly triangular system again of Christ. What do you do to pass the 11th grade? Well, most of the time in college, you'll have something called the Blue Book. If you're writing an essay, let me think, unless they turn Skittle colors, of course, they might have. Ask your professor, can I have a Skittle Blue Book? Pink, yellow, pastel, this sort of thing that your country's run by. But, you're in the 11th grade in this democracy, and your child must pass the 11th grade. What occurs? What must they do? They sit down somewhere and take a test. Test. Corinthians 13:5, of course, and yet again, always. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. I'm telling you, that book that you despise, there are two lovers that you can't read in your communities, that you can't teach, because you're so scared of judgment, of your identity, your doctrine, your inability to teach Christ. Admonish, and I have. They're just a bunch of fools, and may God have mercy on their souls. Okay? They proved it. And your child sits down, and they're like, oh my gosh, I just don't know if I can pass this class test. Am I going to pass? That's also scientific. Yeah. And they sit down, and let's say the professor hands them a blue book, just in that classroom, no big deal, whatever state you live in, and you're sitting down to take an exam. Nothing to see there in science, but there really is. That's 2 Corinthians 13:5. It starts out with examine yourself. The same way you're examining yourself in 11th grade to try to get as a senior. Same thing, different metaphor. Same thing. You're sitting down examining yourself and your wisdom, book of Proverbs, and knowledge, and thought, and mind, all these scientific biblical terms. I know it's scary that your community let you down and can't teach Jesus by one little female in Raymond. I'm so sad for Jesus Christ that they cannot. I am broken and shattered for people who need the test of the Lord. Okay? So 11th grade, your child sits down. Maybe their name is Steve, right? Oh, Steph, and the other one's Stephen, right? Steph and Steve. A couple of twins. Hey, man, brother, let's do it. We're twins and stuff. Whatever. Fraternal, identical. Laugh it up. Steve's over there freaking out. Stephanie's freaking out because they're about to be tested on an exam to prove they can pass the 11th grade. Hang on a moment. I believe that's still 1, 2, 3. Okie dokie. We got things to do. Ain't gonna screw my husband. Thank you very much. I know where to go. Even on Saturday. Okay. Now your child comes home and Steve's smiling ear to ear like a lollipop. He's probably gonna wear a tutu. And he comes home smiling. Yeah. And sadly, his sister Steph has her head down. She took the same test. She took the same exam. 13, 1 Thessalonians 5. They examined a child in the school district. They tested your child in the school district. And somehow, Steph and Stephen proved that they could pass the class or fail the class. There's no in between for salvation either. You either are saved or you are not. There is no middle ground here. And yet again, I'm very sorry for your wicked communities that cannot teach Christ. Ordinarily, they'll be in the community that floats the boat of any sort of skittle in some way. They'll be the ones that cannot teach Jesus. If they did, they'd have to examine themselves, test themselves, and prove themselves unrighteous in front of God. That is why they failed. There's no other reason. Okay? And so, Professor gives Stephanie's classroom test, the exam. Then her twin brother Stephen, the teacher, as it is written, the preacher, pastor, same derivative, different dispensation. So, teacher. Let's make that fun fact Judaism. Teacher. He chose the most ridiculous man to test, prove, examine the Judaism law of the Gentiles sewn into the Judaism law at each church. There was no membership needed. He was sanctifying them. And your child sanctified in a class called British literature. The Bible is a scientific book. Mankind tries to bring it down and deify God and throw prayers at God like a force. My post is not anything to do with me. Got nothing to do with me. It's humility for the husband I'm married to, 20 years plus. That's the humility. That's the difference of these people. They'll pray for themselves. They'll pray for themselves. I myself don't do that. You'll never find me. I don't pray for myself. The Prayer Warriors is a Mississippi team collectively. Let's get that story straight to the Walking Devils. They don't own YouTube community posts. I'll state this again. Anything you post, they believe it's force thrown at them. No, I've never done that. If I want to get somebody's attention, their name is used as the name in the book of life, as the names in the Bible calling you out, and myself. Your name. But the only thing that scares people is that title name. And so we use names as a fruit card. Okay? Fruit salad. Okay? Barely, exhort, behold. These sort of terms. Exhortation, sharp, rebuke. Another one's just sort of, he's hidden, thinking they're getting to you, they're just lost. I do not, and have not, since Sherry gave me the admonish, mention any other names. They just write themselves in and call me a narcissist. This must be for me. No, it's really not. The they can be a car lot. They'll make it about themselves. They're full-fledged narcissists. They put on you because they don't understand it at all. They don't even know how to fish. They don't know how to fish the Word of God either. They have no knowledge. They lost one of the largest simplistic biblical debates on their platform. There is no platform. They lost. They failed God. They failed you more than anything when you follow them, paying them money to fail God. They hate us so much. They call me out, William out, my son out, my medical out, my car out, my life out. They are slanderous. I said, Angelo Stevens, my Twitter. Since he's so bold, they want you to send him slanderous material. I thought I'd give him a piece of the pie of the slander against me. Scotty. There's no Angelo Stevens to be up anywhere near Scotty Burnett's Army record. Not at all. None. None. Anyone that spoke about Scotty's Army, that is slander. We'll be happy to join your lawsuit there, brother. I told him my case is there died. It is. I got 4 lawyers. Yes, I did. Just waiting. Like everybody else is waiting. They're waiting on lawyers and they ain't never going to touch them until we're ready. I sent that to Stevens' Gmail. Some of the goof-tard posts from his Twitter. Come to me. Slanders. But that's okay. Let's get here. Let's get back to class. All right, so your daughter, Steph, and Steve are going to another class at the end of the year, with that being said, and or spring break. Now they're walking in the classroom. They don't even know what the fix is going on. You're like, oh my gosh. Do you really think you know all this mathematics stuff? No, Steph, I really don't. So they sit down and they studied the book. They studied their books. They've done the computer studying the computer lab. Understand Jesus' word yet? How to do this? If people that don't know how, we'll try to teach you a little bit more. Because they came to code at the party for our musician leaving. Yeah, that room was so filled with people. It was so hot in there. We had too many people in there. People coughing, sneezing, all that garbage. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Temperature. Running yes, no. Can't do that. You know, you can get that temperature thing and know your own life. The YouTube community post prayer requests of my warriors belongs to them. They fail every test. They're such losers, people. You need to start teaching the Bible and burn a heart through their soul. Put the flame under there. You don't need to use their name. Don't worry about it. They're so stuck on themselves in this world. They'll rot themselves in. Let them rot it in. Let them watch you, because you ain't watching them. There's no tag button. I don't see anything the devils do. They can share anything from here Sunday to Sherry. I don't see nothing. Admonish. Over. We're just mentioning them right now because they have no idea what an examination is. They don't understand the Bible as a scientific book. Not a fable. Novice. A bunch of novices running around. Okay? They're not zealous for the Lord. They're zealous for who gets my captain. They're a community filled of hate, mockery, defamation, slander, money, and that's evident. I don't have to do anything. My lawyer watch everything they do. It's not in my hands anymore. It's not in my hands anymore. You see this Stevens guy running around like a chicken, right? He's all over the place if you need to know on the telephones and trying to gather information for slander. Y'all have the evidence? Y'all know how to get it? You know, intercept it? Well, I've been on phones my whole life. I do. So there's that fun fact. I thought I'd give the Mr. Marshmallow Man a little bit of a taste of what slander was. And so much more. Anyway, back to the testing room. Good grief. Now, Steph and Stephen are freaking out. It's time for spring break, man. It's time to go to the beach. Shoot, man. Disneyland or Disney World or just chillaxing in their house. Steve and Steph are going cuckoo. Shoot, man. The test is there. Oh, my Lord. Test? Yeah, test. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. But anyway, I plastered a bunch of different translations to prove all things again. That no matter what translation you use, you're going to see the King James Bible is a little bit softer for you. Your translations are tougher on you. Yeah. And one of the translations it says has nothing to do with him. Well, I get that. I'm sanctified enough to understand this, but Stephen and Steph, they're like freaking out. It is the last class. They must pass. Go floating down the river. They're freaking out. Whole classroom is. Oh my gosh, did you have a good breakfast? You know, sort of deal. I myself not a breakfast person. But hey, other than that, they're sitting there in the desk. Yeah, freaking out. It's time to test. To take the exam. To prove to a teacher that they know what to do in this mathematical garbage class. Calculator all broken, right? Protractor tore up. Pencils and stuff all broken and contracted. Computer system's trash. Right in the middle of the exam. Holy fetch. Oh no! You know, you can't even website link.net.classroom Stephen and Steph. You know what I'm saying? Deal with it, suckers. Okay, verily, verily, we say unto you, and they're sitting down. And the parents are like, you think they'll pass? Steve might do better than such and such. Steve might prove all things, and Stephanie may not. That's the brethren. One will know the way, the other is walking astray. So, you know, they sit down, maybe they're in one of them cubicles, man. Freaky, dicky, dusty, hot, taking jackets off, sweating, freaking out. Freaking out, right? You will on Judgment Day too, in front of Jesus. Calm down. I'm ready. Are you? Okay, no big deal. And Stephanie sees the test. The test. So does Steve. They freaking out. They separate the twins in case they have the same mind and try to get them on the magic 8 ball. And Stephen be over there saying, oh my gosh, I have to take this exam. 2 Corinthians 13:5 again, of himself. He's examining himself. Stephanie is examining herself on an exam. 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourself. It doesn't say your YouTube wish I could be moderation. Oh no. You got to prove all things, Stephanie. You got to prove all things there, Steve, that you know how to pass the knowledge of the truth. Same test they failed. Big time, baby. You're a sad community against no knowledge and fear of the Christ. Well, Stephanie rolls in with a big smile on her face on this mathematical test. Steve, man, he's tucking his tail. He took the exam. Stephanie took the exam to examine themselves. And Stephanie proved that she studied the test and has the wisdom to pass the test unto the class. Steve, he took the test and examined it of the truth to graduate from that class. You get a job, right? Shoot, man. What you have to do is go in there and meet the person who is going to examine her for the position of the job by herself. Nobody's in comparison to Steph. No, solo. To earn the job, she is alone. Like Christ's judgment, there are two. Technically, the Deadburn IBM people are actually a solo judger, like Jesus. So they need to judge Stephanie's classroom transcript to see if they can learn from Stephanie in the IBM system. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what they do is they look at the test that she passed or failed while they examined her, they tested her, and they proved that Stephanie can move to part 2 of her job she's trying to do. There's a mandated job to test the Word of God against the lost. It is a mandation to get the job. The job of a born-again, saved believer is to test all things, examine all things, prove all things unto knowledge. You just can't get the job there, Steph, by walking in and saying, hey, man, I kind of like you're building an IBM. I'm hired. And you remember that those things, it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. I know a lot of people know that. If they listen to the knowledge of the truth or the terror for some skill. Yeah, some optimism, maybe I get hired. There's a little thing, that little saying is not what you know, it's who you know. So do you know Jesus Christ? Same truth, same analogy, different classroom. That's it. That's not what you know, Jamie Lynn. It's who you know. Yeah, do you know Jesus? No, those communities don't. They failed God. They didn't fail me. They failed God. They failed His Word. They can't do it. They failed. All right, so Stephanie's going for a little bit more of a promotion. She wants to be the Secretary of State. Yep, then her goal, the end result is for her, like I say all the time, she wants to be the ambassador to the Soviet and or the White House. She wants a position in the White House. I guess when she walks in the White House, they'll say, well, I like your clothes, you bedazzled out, you look good, Pharisee, you look good on the outside, you talk right, you say the right things, you do pretty good things, you have pretty good people, you hang around pretty good stuff. That ain't the kingdom of God, that's earth. That's a professional Pharisee. Just a little bit of an analogy there in the classroom. And so they walk in, she walks in the White House. Shoot, ma'am, like elegant, all over the etiquette, she's got all that, like the Pharisees did, and scribes. And Stephanie looks pretty good, she shine deal for a hiree. However, she has a job before the job. She's got to be tested, examined, and proved to higher authorities. His name is Jesus, just to throw it in there, scratch a lever, itch a sketch. Okay, got to prove all things, test all things, examine all things, for her to have the job at your Democracy Basilica in America. But, she looks pretty good. She's dressed well, like a Pharisee. She's an attendee at every event. I mean, how can she lose? She's a bomb, Shoot, man. Steph, the external. Wish I could be a follower of Jesus. Anybody can do that. Dress right, walk right, talk right. Anybody can do that. Say God. Yeah. However, though, somebody steps in there. They're like, we need this additional system here in the White House, this other department, because everybody has different spiritual gifts. There's 12. Cessationism is a fact. There are no speaking in tongues anymore. There is no just like the hospital. There's 3 gifts that are gone. They're apostle gifts that are gone. They're not a human. Like you think. The gifts given by Christ unto the apostles. Those 3 spiritual gifts. We're not talking about the average person walking around trying to speak in tongues. No, they're known languages on the day of Pentecost. There's more than one day of Pentecost, by the way. They thought they were drunk, like I was. They were speaking in known languages. That's a thing that has ceased. Remember that law called cease and desist? They said to throw that one in there in the White House. But anyway, it's probably not. It's probably pink. I'm not really sure what they got in there. Donald Trump tore it all down. All the fairies. I don't think I'll ever go to a ballet again. I'll just do it myself. I don't want to see a bunch of people in churches. It'll scare me. Men? Oh my God. Anyway, Steph's in the White House, man. She has passed high school. Got all the way to college, man. She went all the way. Got that master's, doctorate. And then some. And more education like the scribes. The scribes were so filled with the Torah, Deuteronomy law, Mosaic law, everything you could dream as they stood by the riches. The Pharisees didn't know nothing. They just dressed nice, bedazzled, looked good, sounded good, attended the synagogue. Oh yeah. Yeah, we can't miss. Like perfect attendance, right? Been there, done that, lived that, perfect attendance. I earned the trophy. Central Baptist Church, Christian School, it never went. I won every perfect attendance. And anyway, moving on here out of that military system of mine, I have to be stupid. All right, so Stephanie's freaking out. She's got a good closet, wear the right clothes, say the right speech, walk, talk the right talk, know the right people, do some wonderful works. Just sounds a little bit too like the Pharisees. And then scribes, I know this, I know that, I know this, I know that. Stephanie's really loaded with his wingnut knowledge, like the scribes. And she looks as good as the Pharisees do. And so they start to hang out. You've seen that before, right? All these White House lovers, I wish I could be GQ, hanging out together. That's the scribes and the Pharisees. Sadducees still exist, though. Let's not forget that third. I'm going to Google that. She's repping this position, man. It's like 6-figure knowledge. It's crazy. It's not better Donald Trump. But you know what she's got to do? Sit down, alone, against the judger of her exam and her test and her knowledge to prove to the one person, Jesus is the judge, let's not forget this, to prove that she can pass the exam, testing it, examining it, and prove it to the one that will judge her, not anyone else. She's up for the position. There's no one out there. Okay? She's in there. She's in. A lot of these benchwarmers, I'm in the kingdom of God. I don't need to hear that. I know where I'm going. I don't know how to teach it. I don't know how to take tests. I don't know how to examine it. I don't know how to prove it, but I'm in. And Stephanie goes home to the family, right? Newberries, oh, the crackling fire, the wispy sound of a snowstorm. And the family's like, Stephanie, honey, are you in? Did you pass the exam when they tested you against the judge? Did you get to prove it? That you knew everything? People cannot put this together if you paid them to. This is the same truth of the kingdom of the judgments of Christ. No, they can't. They'll judge you. Don't you know you said it? Well, I hope it makes them feel better. Maybe they didn't go to the Bobby plant. Don't you know what you did? That's about all they can throw around in a baseball field. With 3 strikes, you're out. Well, Stephanie must face one person in the White House to do the job of her for Jesus Christ. His word. To examine it, prove it, to get the job of the knowledge of Christ. It is so like a classroom. This has the ambulance. We live down here. We don't live up to you. Dr. John MacArthur has grace. Grace. It's not a religious title. Grace. He has a vlog prior to your dark basilica proving this. All he stated was that the Supreme Court would more than likely legalize pills in your country. Even